Hello and welcome to the Explainer. Okay, what if you could design an entire app just by describing its vibe? I know it sounds a little out there, but today we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating new concept from Google that might just make that a reality.
Before we begin, please press the like button and the subscribe button. Seriously, if you're getting value from these deep dives into new tech, it's the best way to support what we're doing here. Okay, now, let's get right into it.
So, let's just start with a question that probably hits pretty close to home for a lot of you. We pour so many hours into building the perfect user experience, right? But what if we could radically, and I mean radically, shorten that process and make it way more intuitive?
Well, that's exactly the problem Google is trying to tackle with this new idea they're calling vibe design. So, okay, let's unpack this and figure out what exactly that even means.
At its core, vibe design is a totally different way of thinking about work. Instead of you, the designer, having to manually build every single element, this workflow uses large language models to generate a whole interactive interface straight from your ideas. And it doesn't matter if you type them, say them out loud, or even just show the AI a picture. The whole point here is to move away from manual construction and towards simply describing your intent. The engine that's making all of this happen is an experimental tool from Google Labs called Stitch. And I really want you to focus on that word experimental. This is us getting a little peek behind the curtain at the absolute cutting edge of design tools.
You know what I love about this is how it completely changes your role. This analogy is just perfect. You're no longer the builder, meticulously placing every single brick. Instead, you're the director. You get to guide the vision, you make the big creative calls, and you collaborate with an AI agent who's basically your production crew, handling all the heavy lifting.
Okay, so the concept is really powerful, for sure. But how does it actually translate a fuzzy idea into a working product? Let's walk through the whole process, step by step, and see how you get from a simple vibe all the way to functional code.
So the whole workflow is basically this four-step loop. It all kicks off with your abstract vision. Then the AI, Stitch, assembles a basic structure. And from there, you get into this awesome back-and-forth loop of refining and iterating. Let's break down each one.
Step 1 is all about getting your ideas out. You can use simple vibe words like, say, minimalist or playful. Or you can get way more specific and feed the AI things like brand guides, sketches, you name it, just to give it more context. And this is where the magic happens. In Step 2, Stitch starts translating. It takes your abstract vibe and turns it into concrete design choices. So for example, if you say you want a calm vibe, it knows that probably means soft colors and lots of clean, generous white space. It's turning a feeling into actual function.
Now, Step 3 is where the collaboration really starts to shine. This is not some black box where you just press a button and hope for the best. You have total control. You can adjust what the AI generates in real time. Maybe you want to tweak the color palette a little or nudge the text alignment. You can do all of that with simple prompts, or you can even jump right into the canvas and make manual edits yourself, right there with the AI.
So what's the big payoff at the end of all this? This is crucial. You're not just getting a static image, like a JPEG or a Figma file. You get functional, front-end HTML and CSS code. And the goal is for this code to be clean, customizable, and pretty much ready to go, bridging that all-too-familiar gap between the design and development teams.
And finally, Step 4 is all about speed and flexibility. You can spin up multiple versions in no time to test different vibes with users or get feedback from stakeholders. Find one that works? Great. Export the code, drop it into your pipeline. The source material even suggests using this design.md format, which is basically just a structured file to hold all your design rules, making that handoff to developers even smoother.
So that's the how. But now let's get to the big question. Why should you care? Let's zoom out and look at the key takeaway here to help you figure out if a tool like Stitch AI might actually be a good fit for how you work.
This slide really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? On one side, you have the traditional workflow. Your inputs are painstakingly manual wireframes and spec documents. The process is manual construction, and the output is usually just a static mockup. But with Vibe Design, your inputs are just prompts and your intent. The process is a collaboration with AI, and the output is a fully interactive prototype. It is a fundamental shift at every single stage of the game.
So what's the best way to get started with something this new? Well, the advice from the source is incredibly practical. You don't have to just throw out your entire process overnight. Start small. Pick a little component or a small project, experiment with the tool, and just see how it actually feels and fits into your real day-to-day work. All of this really leads us to a much, much bigger question. one that goes way beyond just this one tool from Google. Are we standing right on the edge of a completely new era for design?
And this is the thought I really want to leave you with today. Is the future of our profession less about mastering the technical skill of pushing pixels around a screen and more about mastering the art of clearly defining and communicating intent? It's a massive question, and tools like Vibe Design are forcing all of us to start thinking about the answer. I'd love to know your thoughts, so let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.